A very good evening to all my dear friends. Welcome to Unacademy. So कैसे हो मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों? Please confirm the audio once. Please confirm the audio. ऑडियो आ रहा है. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's there. चलिए अब स्टार्ट करते हैं. दोस्तों मैं हूं आपका दोस्त ऐश्वर्य. पढ़ाता हूं आपको गेट एंड ईएससी के लिए. आई हैव डन माई मास्टर्स फ्रॉम IT दिल्ली एंड बीटेक फ्रॉम जामिया मिलिया इस्लामिया. 4 times I have qualified GATE with my best AIR 226 and I do have 7 years of teaching experience and 2 years of industrial experience. और ये वो सब्जेक्ट्स हैं जो मैं आपके लिए लेता हूँ अनअकैडमी के अलग अलग प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे, लाइक स्पेशल क्लासेस प्लस एज वेल एज ऑन अनअकैडमी ऑफिशियल यूट्यूब चैनल. एंड ऑल दीज आर दी सब्जेक्ट्स: theory of structure, RCC, geotechnical engineering, strength of material and engineering mechanics. So dear, now the question comes, what is this #10? This is a code which you can apply before buying any Unacademy Plus subscription, not only in GATE and ESE but also at various other competitive fields. Simply you can consider this code as an universal code at Unacademy. Means whether any of your friends or relatives are preparing for UPSC, IIT JEE, CBSE, NEET, CAT, CLAT, etc. So this code is applicable everywhere. Now the question comes into mind, why do we need Unacademy Plus? So at Unacademy Plus, we provides you the daily life classes, crash courses, weekly test, doubt solving sessions, English and Hindi in both the languages courses are available, and rank improvement batches are also there. But if you simply want to upgrade this Plus platform into your personalized coaching, then in that case you may go for our iconic plan, where we assign you a personal coach. You can also say your local guardian of an academy, who is going to plan your studies, who is going to keep the study booster session for you, who analyzes your test, and based on your test analysis, you will be letting you know that what are your positives and negatives. Not only this, you would also be getting some specialized notes and practice sets on the daily basis. Okay, so whether it is a matter of Plus or iconic, so my code AISH10 is readily available. Is it clear? चलिए, सो अब बात करते हैं ऑफ आवर रिसेंटली लॉन्च बैच. जैसे कि बैच F6 बैच फॉर योर 2 year प्रिपरेशन वी हैव लॉन्च्ड ऑन प्लस by our top educators, by India's top educators, and this we have started on 8th of March. So if you want to take 2 year subscription and you want to enroll yourself in this batch, then you can use my code #10, isn't it? And if you are preparing for GATE 2022, that is for next coming year, then also you can use this code. And similar educators would be starting the similar batches, but it is for evolved batches for 1 year only, and this also we have started on 8th of March. Now my dear friend, if any of my friend is planning for engineering services, then for prelims this batch is going to be must for you, because it is the batch which is going to create a huge difference in your rank in engineering services. This we started on 18th of Feb, and next batch of this we are going to start in coming in this month. And here as well you can use the code #10. And generally I do not promote 3 months or 6 month subscription, but for this particular batch I will suggest you to you guys can even go for this subscription. So the 10 topics of non-technical would be covered by these 7 top class educators, and due to this there could be a remarkable difference in your rank. एंड ये है हमारे जसपाल सर की टेस्ट सीरीज. आप इसको ज्वाइन कर सकते हो, और इसको अनलॉक करने के लिए यू कैन यूज द कोड #10. इट इज़ अ फ्री टेस्ट सीरीज माय डियर फ्रेंड, एंड दिस इज अ शेड्यूल. 2 टेस्ट ऑलरेडी हो चुके हैं 6 और 13 के. अब नेक्स्ट एवरी संडे आपको ये टेस्ट देने हैं, ठीक है. फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है, आप इसको एनरोल कीजिए और अपनी प्रिपरेशन को करिए और शार्प विद आवर टॉप क्लास एजुकेटर जसपाल सर। ओके, बट अगर नहीं किया है अभी तक आपने अनअकैडमी का लर्निंग ऐप डाउनलोड, तो वो आपको जल्दी ही करना पड़ेगा। देन ओनली यू गाइस विल बी एबल टू अनलॉक दोज फ्री बेसिक एसेसरीज। ओके, चाहे वो टेस्ट सीरीज हो, चाहे वो क्विजेज हो, चाहे वो स्पेशल क्लासेस हो, चाहे वो अनअकैडमी कॉम्बैट हो, which is known as the largest fortnightly. Okay, so this you will be using there. And now the 34th session, and today is the first class of shear strength, and we are on the second last topic of soil mechanics 1. So till now we have successfully completed all these topics which I have highlighted with green, and today is the first class of shear strength. तो बहुत इजीली आप चीज़ों को आज रिकवर कर ले जाओगे अगर अभी तक आपने नहीं पढ़ा। सो आज हम बात करेंगे इंट्रोडक्शन ऑन द शियर स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ सॉइल, ठीक है। एंड आफ्टर दैट ओनली वन मोर टॉपिक, वर्टिकल स्ट्रेसेस इज लेफ्ट, ठीक है। बट ये थोड़ा बड़ा चैप्टर है, ये 3 से 4 दिन आपका इजीली चलेगा शियर स्ट्रेंथ। इसके अंदर हमें मैकेनिज्म समझना है, शियर स्ट्रेंथ होता क्या है, व्हाट ऑल आर दी शियर स्ट्रेस पैरामीटर्स. Not only this, how to determine those parameters. Then we have to move on to test, laboratory test, field test, like direct shear test, triaxial test, okay, UCS test. तो ये सारे के सारे टेस्ट हमें करने हैं, wind shear test, and after that we will be going to vertical stresses chapter, which is the last chapter of soil mechanics part 1. और उसके बाद हम लोग स्टार्ट करेंगे soil mechanics part 2, which is also known as foundation engineering. तो मुझे लगता है कि इस वीक में बाय द एंड ऑफ दिस वीक जियोटेक 1 वुड बी ओवर, एंड आफ्टर दैट वी हैव टू वर्क विद स्लोप स्टेबिलिटी, अर्थ प्रेशर थ्योरी, शैलो फाउंडेशन, डीप फाउंडेशन एंड सॉइल एक्सप्लोरेशन. ओके, सो दिस वी वुड बी स्टार्टिंग इन द अपकमिंग वीक, यू कैन से इन द नेक्स्ट वीक. क्लियर है? नेक्स्ट वीक इन द सेंस जो अगला वाला मंडे आएगा, नॉट दिस वन. ये नेक्स्ट 5-6 दिन मेरे को यही जियोटेक 1 चलाना है, उसके आगे हम नेक्स्ट वीक से फाउंडेशन इंजीनियरिंग स्टार्ट करेंगे. चलिए अब करते हैं स्टार्ट आज का सेशन. एंड बिफोर दैट माय अपकमिंग क्लासेस, यूट्यूब पे मेरी जो कल की क्लास रहेगी उसमें मैं आपको सी और फाई निकालना बताऊंगा. ये सी और फाई होते क्या हैं ये आज की क्लास में आपको क्लियर होगा. दीज आर नोन एज शियर स्ट्रेंथ पैरामीटर्स. दीज आर नोन एज शियर स्ट्रेंथ पैरामीटर्स. ओके, तो 14 मार्च मतलब कि कल शाम 7 बजे हम आएंगे इसके लिए लाइव. एंड स्पेशल क्लास की अगर बात करूं तो आज मैंने एक छोटा सा टेस्ट रखा है आपका रात को 10 बजे, जिसके अंदर SFD, BMD, स्लोप, डिफ्लेक्शन, ये 4 टॉपिक से मैं क्वेश्चन फ्रेम करके लाऊंगा और आप लोगों से एक लाइव क्विज करवाऊंगा, ठीक है. बट ऑब्वियसली ये सब चीज़ें तभी होंगी जब आपने अनअकैडमी का लर्निंग ऐप डाउनलोड कर रखा होगा. और लर्निंग ऐप डाउनलोड करने का मतलब ये है कि आपको एक इनवाइट कोड भी चाहिए होगा, एंड दैट इनवाइट कोड आई हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्प्लेड यू. इट इज़ नन अदर देन S10. इज इट क्लियर? चलिए अब करते हैं स्टार्ट. शियर स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द सॉइल. नाउ व्हाट इज शियर स्ट्रेंथ? व्हाट इज शियर स्ट्रेंथ? देखो, स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ मटेरियल से ही आपको शियर पता लगना चालू हो जाता है. अगर मैं बात करूं कि कोई भी मटेरियल के ऊपर आप कितने तरीके के स्ट्रेसेस लगा सकते हो, तो पहली चीज जो बाद में आपके मन में आती है वो है 2. एक डायरेक्ट और दूसरा होता है इनडायरेक्ट, ठीक है. अब डायरेक्ट स्ट्रेसेस भी बेसिकली 2 तरीके से लगते हैं जिनको आप इंडिपेंडेंट बोलते हो. 1 परपेंडिकुलर टू द प्लेन, 1 अलोंग द प्लेन. परपेंडिकुलर टू द प्लेन स्ट्रेसेस आर नोन एज योर नॉर्मल स्ट्रेसेस, और वो स्ट्रेसेस जो प्लेन के अलोंग लगते हैं, जो आपकी ज्योमेट्री को डिटोरिएट करते हैं, वैसे स्ट्रेसेस को आप लोग बोलते हो शियर स्ट्रेसेस. सो बोथ ऑफ दीज स्ट्रेसेस कैन मे फॉल अंडर डायरेक्ट स्ट्रेसेस. ओके, अब ऐसा नहीं है कि ये नॉर्मल स्ट्रेसेस और जो शियर स्ट्रेसेस हैं ये सिर्फ डायरेक्ट एक्शन के कारण ही होते हैं. दे कैन ऑल्सो बी ड्यू टू द इनडायरेक्ट एक्शन लाइक बेंडिंग, टॉर्जन एक्सेट्रा. So normal forces generated due to bending moment are generally normal stresses, and stresses generated due to torsional moment are known as your shear stresses. So soil on the application of external load, so your soil may be subjected to normal stresses as well as your shear stresses. ठीक है. नॉर्मल स्ट्रेसेस का एक बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल हम ऑलरेडी पढ़ चुके हैं, विच इज नोन एज द इफेक्टिव स्ट्रेस. which is the vertical stress acting at any layer, or that stress is basically acting perpendicular to the cross section. That stress is basically perpendicular to the cross section. And this time we are interested in that component of stress which is having its orientation towards the plane, along the plane. There may be some stresses which may be acting inclined, and if we are going to convert those stresses into forces, and then if we are resolving those forces into two components, one along the surface and another perpendicular to the surface, then that component of force which is acting perpendicular to the surface is responsible for your normal stresses, and that component of force which is acting along the surface, and that component is responsible for your shear stresses. And that value of shear stress which your soil can take before it actually gets failed is known as the shear strength of the soil. तो shear strength of soil उसको बोला जाता है, उस स्ट्रेंथ को बोला जाता है जो आपका सॉइल या आपका मटेरियल ले ले बिफोर इट एक्चुअली गेट फेल्स. सिमिलरली बियरिंग स्ट्रेंथ उसको बोला जाता है जो आपका सॉइल ले ले फॉर द नॉर्मल स्ट्रेसेस बिफोर इट एक्चुअली गेट फेल्स. हेलो ऋषिकेश, कैसे हो दोस्त? ठीक है. सो अगर मैं यहाँ पे देखूं कि व्हाट इज द bookish definition of shear strength, then it is the resistance to the shear deformation. Exactly, shear deformation की जो resistance है उसको हम बोलते हैं shear strength. It is the shear stress which acts on the failure plane. फेल होने वाले प्लेन पे जो shear stress लगता है, या वो shear stress जिसके अप्लाई करने पे आपका सॉइल फेल हो जाता है, ऐसे shear stress को आप नाम देते हो shear strength. मतलब strength wise means shear wise how much your soil can take. strength का मतलब क्या होता है कि कौन कितना बचा सकता है. stress is somewhat you can say action, strength is reaction. Okay, suppose you are having the capacity of taking 100 kg load on your head. Somebody is putting 10 kg, 20 kg, 30 kg, 40 kg. So your body might be subjected to stresses corresponding to 10, 20, 30, 40 like that. But one moment will come when somebody is going to put 100 kg load on you. So at that 100 kg of load, you will be able to resist that load, but just after that you would be collapsed. So what is your strength? Your strength would be 100 kg. Okay, means you can take 100 kg of load. तो वो लोड जो आप सेफली ले सकते हो बिफोर कोलैप्सिंग, उसको हम बोलेंगे वो है आपकी स्ट्रेंथ. सिमिलरली सॉइल शियर में जो स्ट्रेस ले ले बिफोर इट एक्चुअली गेट कोलैप्स, that is known as the shear strength. And what is shear stress? Those stresses, those component of the stresses which are acting along the surface, not across the surfaces. Okay, basically देखा जाए तो सॉइल अपनी shear strength इन फॉलोइंग पैरामीटर से लेके जाती है. ओके, कैन यू प्लीज एक्सप्लेन ओवर कंसोलिडेशन मार्जिन? डियर ऋषिकेश, ये आप वहां पूछ लेते तो बेटर होता, ओवर कंसोलिडेशन मार्जिन. चलो, ओवर कंसोलिडेशन मार्जिन, डियर आई विल कम टू दिस, बट इन द लास्ट, ओके, अराउंड 8 o'clock or 7:50-55 यू मे रिमाइंड ऋषि, अदरवाइज वी विल बी डिविएटिंग हियर ना. ठीक है ऋषिकेश, आप मेरे को एक बार 7:50 7:55 पे जब मैं लेक्चर क्लोज करने वाला हूंगा तब आप मेरे को एक बार रिमाइंड करवा देना. आई विल बी कवरिंग दैट. इज इट क्लियर डियर? ओके, नाउ द थिंग इज व्हाई ऑन फ्रॉम व्हाट बेसिस यू विल बी डिराइविंग योर shear strength. ठीक है, अब देखो ये सिलसिला ना आपका क्लास 11 से ही स्टार्ट हो जाता है जब आप फ्रिक्शन पढ़ते हो अपनी 11th क्लास की फिजिक्स में. ठीक है, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चैप्टर है जियोटेक्निकल इंजीनियरिंग का. ओके, वेलकम डियर. बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चैप्टर है ये जियोटेक्निकल इंजीनियरिंग का. ठीक है, ये नहीं कि यहाँ पे सिर्फ आपका जियोटेक ही चल रहा है, अच्छा खासा सोम, अच्छा खासा आपका फिजिक्स इस चैप्टर के अंदर इन्वॉल्व होता है. बट फर्क इतना सा आता है कि जो फिजिक्स जो सोम आप पढ़ते हो वो आप इलास्टिक बॉडीज या फिर रिजिड बॉडीज के लिए पढ़ते हो. बट सॉइल इज इटसेल्फ ए वेरी वेरी स्पेशल मटेरियल विच इज नाइदर सॉलिड नॉर लिक्विड. ओके, सो दैट इज देयर इज अ डिफरेंट ब्रांच. why we are studying the soil mechanics. Is it clear? तो वही फंडे, वही रिजिड बॉडी मैकेनिक्स के फंडे, वही इलास्टिक बॉडी डिफॉर्मेशन के फंडे हमने इस चैप्टर में सॉइल के हिसाब से पढ़ने हैं, ठीक है. दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई दिस चैप्टर इज वेरी वेरी स्पेशल. ओके, सो नाउ व्हाट ऑल आर दी criterias or factors from where soil is attaining or gaining its shear taking ability, or you can say its shear strength. Okay, so those factors have been given to you. It may be due to the interlocking of particle, it may be due to the frictional resistance, or it may be the cohesion or adhesion between the molecules. Okay, let me elaborate this to you guys because it is the basic funda. See what is happening. देखो हो क्या रहा है, इसको समझाने के लिए मैं आपकी क्लास 11th की फिजिक्स में जाना चाहूंगा, जहां पे एक टेबल है और उस टेबल के ऊपर एक ब्लॉक रखा हुआ है. इस टेबल के ऊपर आपने एक ब्लॉक रखा हुआ है. देयर इज अ ब्लॉक ओवर दिस टेबल, ठीक है. सो दिस इज अ ब्लॉक. ओके, इस ब्लॉक का कुछ ना कुछ एक सेल्फ वेट भी होगा. लेट्स से इट इज 100 न्यूटन. रैंडमली आई एम टेकिंग एनी नंबर. ओके, सो whenever you are trying to pull this block, then tell me what is going to be required force. Welcome Archana. What is going to be the required force? Tell me. Okay, so this force P is function of two things. One, what is the weight of this block? ऑब्वियसली बात है 10 न्यूटन वेट वाले ब्लॉक को आप कम फोर्स में खींच लोगे और 100 न्यूटन वाले को ऑब्वियसली आपको ज्यादा फोर्स लगाना पड़ेगा. तो कहीं ना कहीं वेट ऑफ द ब्लॉक इज ऑल्सो प्लेइंग ए क्रूशियल रोल, ओके, इन इट्स स्लाइडिंग. सेकेंड फैक्टर जो मुझे लगता है दैट इज बिटवीन दी सरफेसेस. ओके, ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि किसी ईंट को आप पुश करो मिट्टी के ऊपर या हार्ड सरफेस के ऊपर या टेबल के ऊपर, तो आपको अलग अलग फोर्स लगाने पड़ सकते हैं. इज इट क्लियर? ए वेरी गुड इवनिंग यस डियर. तो डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द टाइप ऑफ सरफेस दिस P force is also varying. Depending upon the weight of this block, this P force is also affecting. So I can say that force required to move this block is going to depend upon two things. One is the normal force, another is the surface property, which you can say it is the coefficient of friction between these surfaces. बताइए इससे सीधे क्लियर है कि नहीं? It is the coefficient of friction. ऑब्वियसली बात है स्मूथ सरफेस पे यू माइट हैव टू यूज लेसर वैल्यू ऑफ फोर्स, एंड अनदर एस्पेक्ट इज नॉर्मल फोर्स. ओके, सो बेस्ड ऑन दीज टू थिंग्स we can say that P is mu times of normal force. Okay, P is equal to mu times of normal force. At least P जब mu times of n के बराबर होगा, after that it will impend its motion towards the right hand side. और अगर इसको थोड़ा सा और डिटेल में बताऊं, वैसे आज मैंने एक सुबह मॉर्निंग में मैकेनिक्स का लेक्चर दिया था, वहां पे भी ये सब चीजें मैंने अच्छे प्रॉब्लम्स डिस्कस किए थे. Let me draw the free body diagram. Here. Let's say this is my block. Okay, so here the weight of this block is 100 Newton. Okay, and a normal force would be acting here. In this case, when the plane is horizontal, so normal force is nothing but equal to the weight of the block. So depending upon this, there would be a equal and opposite force, or you can say there would be a resisting force developing, and that resistant force is equal to frictional force. It is known as the frictional force, and this is your action force. This P is your action force. So now if you want to move this block, okay, just for equilibrium condition, if we are making the summation of fx is equal to 0, then P is equal to FF, and this FF only is equal to mu times of normal force. Okay, suppose mu is 0.25, suppose mu is 0.25 and normal force is 1000, then mu n is equal to, in that case, 250. It means if you are applying any force which is less than 250, 0, 50, 100, 200, 225, 245, 249, even 251, it would maintain its equilibrium. The moment you are crossing your load 250, then the relative motion would be established between these two surfaces, or you can say this block would be having tendency to move towards right due to this applied load P, or you can say with respect to the frame of reference of this block, this ground is having the tendency to move towards left. And the idea here is that whatever force you are applying here, okay, so corresponding to that force and corresponding to the weight of this block, there would be some frictional force. The moment you are externally overcoming this frictional force, then only this block is going to move. So similar thing in soil is known as failure. The moment there is a relative motion between a layer of soil, you would say your soil is going to fail in shear, because you can see this is the tangent phenomena. Here you are applying this force P, and due to this P there is a frictional force developing, and this frictional force is developing along the plane, and with the help of this P you are trying to break this frictional force. So indirectly you can say that here intentionally, in order to move this block, you guys are applying a component of force which is going to overcome this tangential force which is known as the frictional force. सेम सिनेरियो जब आपका सॉइल के अंदर होता है ना दोस्त, तो जब सॉइल के किसी लेयर के अबाउट देयर इज अ रिलेटिव स्लिपेज, देन यू कैन से दैट सॉइल इज गोइंग टू फेल. ओके सर, शुड आई आस्क अबाउट कॉलेजेस इन 9 o'clock session? 9 o'clock, do I have any session today at 9 o'clock? I'm not aware. Don't afraid me, dear. Don't afraid me. Don't afraid me. Just a minute. Let me check my schedule. हेलो या डियर, आई वाज टेलिंग यू कि मैंने आपको आज 7 बजे का ही बोला था, बट आई कुडंट गैदर द सफिशिएंट इंफॉर्मेशन. सो टुमारो at 7 p.m. we will be discussing your college thing, definitely. Okay, try to come at 7 tomorrow. Initially we will be discussing that. Okay, I remember your doubt. You were confused between various NITs. So, and you want to do structural engineering. So, I will be discussing that tomorrow for sure. I hope now I am audible. Okay. चलिए अब बढ़ते हैं आगे. So, guy, please, dear, please give me one more day. Okay. Yes. So, I was telling you that here you are applying this load P so that you can break this frictional resistance, which is proportional to normal force and the coefficient of friction. And normal force is the weight of the overburden thing, and coefficient of friction is the surface property. Similar thing would happen. Just consider this FF. In soil mechanics, this FF is only your shear strength. That strength which you can apply to the soil before it actually gets failed. Okay. Okay, and sorry dear, नहीं कर पाया आज मैं. Okay, thanks. Okay. So here these things are the function of three parameters: interlocking, and you can say frictional resistance, and you can say the cohesion and adhesion. So if there is a soil, let me tell you like this. Suppose I am applying a force P here. Then in reality, this soil sample may fail along any plane. It may fail along any plane. Let it be this one. Okay. Then about this plane, or you can say, let me draw it with black. So this soil may even fail about this plane. So this is a plane where the relative motion between these two soil samples can happen. And about this plane, there are lot many things which needs to get checked before it has to pass in shear. Those things may be the interlocking between the particles, that how much these particles and these particles are interlocked, frictional resistance of these surfaces between the same type of molecules. Not only this, cohesion and adhesion between the molecules. And generally when it comes to shear strength within the soil, it is the cohesion, not adhesion, because cohesion is the forces acting on the similar particles. Cohesion is the forces acting on the similar particles. So instead, in our normal rigid body mechanics, in our 12th 11th class physics, your frictional force is going to depend upon the normal force as well as upon the coefficient of friction. But here, along with the coefficient of friction, or you can say the frictional resistance, interlocking of the particle as well as the cohesion of the soil is also going to play a very crucial role there. It is also going to play a very crucial role here. Tell me if you guys are having any doubt so far. Tell me for any doubt. Okay now dear, no doubt. So see here, one more thing is there. You know, in soil classification there are broadly two types of soil. One is your fine grain soil whose size is less than 75 micron. Okay, maybe you can say silt and clay. And one is your coarse grain soil whose size is greater than 75 micron and it varies till 80 mm. Okay. So it may be gravels, it may be sand. In sand it can further bifurcated into fine grain sand, coarse grain sand, and similarly in gravel also it can be bifurcated into fine, medium and high coarse gravel. You can say coarse grain gravel. Okay, so these three factors also depends upon the type of soil. These three factors also depends upon the type of soil. For example, if I am talking about the granular soil is something which is having the coarse particle within it. Okay, in granular soil, the shear strength is achieved due to the interlocking as well as due to the friction. Okay, it is due to the interlocking as well as it is due to the friction. So out of these three reasons, interlocking, friction and cohesion, the first two are responsible for the shear strength in your granular soil, or you can say your coarse grain soil. But when it comes to fine grain soil, means that soil whose size is less than 75 micron, or you can say your silt or clay, between 2 micron to 75 micron it is silt and less than 2 microns are clay particles. But whereas in your fine grain soil, in your clay particles, the major portion of shear strength is due to the reason number 2 and reason number 3. Because I told you already, cohesion is significant in your fine grain soil, not in your coarse grain soil, isn't it? So once again I am saying to you, out of these reasons, the first two are used for granular soil and the bottom two, they are used for fine grain soil. This thing can be asked in the objective questions, that coarse grain soil, it is interlocking and friction. In fine grain soil, it is friction as well as the cohesion. So indirectly you can say that interlocking and frictions are something which is the function of angle of shear resistance, or you can say phi. And fine grain soil is attaining its major contribution from the cohesion. Cohesion is basically the forces of attraction between the similar molecules, and it is generally dominate in your fine grain soil where the size particles is very low. Is it clear? Cohesion पढ़ाते हैं ना फ्लूइड मैकेनिक्स में, forces of attraction between the same molecules. Adhesion, forces of attraction between the different molecules. Okay, now you might be thinking, how come adhesion is written here in your soil mechanics when shear strength of a soil sample is to be obtained? Adhesion, what we are doing whenever we are doing the ground improvements, we have to do some reinforcement by providing some geotextiles and geogrids, etc. So in order to find the shear strength with respect to the geotextile of soil, we are using the adhesion factor. That can also be done by using the direct shear test and all. I will tell you later that whenever two different interfaces are used, or there are two different surfaces, then the adhesion is going to come into the picture, and whenever it is the same surface, then the cohesion is going to come into the picture. Okay, so I was telling you, if it is a coarse grain soil, then interlocking and friction is going to play a crucial role in your shear strength. If it is a fine grain soil, then the friction and cohesion are going to play a crucial role in your shear strength. Due to the interlocking is a function of angle of frictional angle, angle of shearing resistance, whereas in fine grain soil, shear strength is basically a function of cohesion. If the soil is very fine, you call such soil as sea soil. You know why? Because all the shear strength is imparted due to the cohesion. If it is a coarse grain soil, then that soil is also called as phi soil. You know why? Because all the frictional thing is achieved with the help of interlocking. If there is an intermediate soil, let's say of size of 75 micron to 2 or 3 mm or 4 mm like that, in that case you are going to call such soil as your general C phi soil. Okay. So how much soil is able to resist in shear, these things are depending upon the cohesion as well as the angle of internal friction. These things depends upon cohesion as well as the angle of internal friction. So that is the reason why this soil is called as C phi soil. Is it clear? And why these two terminologies are known as shear strength parameter? Because shear stress wise, how much it can resist it is entirely going to depend upon these two parameters, which is known as the C5 parameters or your shear strength parameter. That is going to be the concept of C5. I hope the concept is clear to you, my dear friend. Please let me know if you guys are having any doubts so far. Why C5 is shear strength parameter? I hope you know. So based on these parameters, Mohr and Coloumb has given a theory which say that if somebody wants to find the shear strength of the soil, it is going to be the function of, okay, great. It is going to be the function of total parameter of soil as well as total normal stresses. So this is tau is equal to C plus normal stress into 10/5. देखो ना वही है भाई, frictional force is equal to mu times of normal force. What is mu? Mu को आप कभी कभार 10/5 भी लिख सकते हो. So it is frictional force. If I am going to divide by the area on the both side, then this is frictional force over area is shear strength is equal to normal force upon area is normal stress into 10/5 you can write at mu. So tau is equal to mu times of n. But in addition to this mu, if there is cohesion present in my soil, then directly you have to add that component here. So that is why you can write the equation tau is equal to C plus normal stress into 10/5. Or simply multiply this by area, you would be getting that your tangential forces resistance is equal to normal forces multiplied by the coefficient of friction between two surfaces plus C into area, or you can say overall cohesion per unit area or for the entire area. So that is going to be the concept. Is it clear? But unluckily this theory, or you can say luckily, is cannot be hit, because later on we have find that shear strength of a soil is more a function of effective stress rather than total stress. In absence of water, doesn't matter, both are same. So this theory you can say is applied for dry soil where the impact of water is not present. But when it comes to the saturated soil or submerged sand, in that case, my dear friend, the properties are going to change because there is a difference between the effective and total stresses. So whenever there is an interference of water in my soil, at that point of time I can say that shear strength is going to be a function of effective stress parameter rather than total stress parameter. Or in that case we can also redefine our function tau is equal to C dash plus sigma dash into 10/5 dash. And now the C dash and phi dash are also known as shear strength parameter, but these shear strength parameters are going to be the function of effective stresses, not of total stresses. So Mohr Coloumb theory is applicable till dry soil where the interference of water is not there, but once the water comes into the picture, after that the total and effective stresses become different, and in that particular case we are relying on C dash and phi dash rather than on C and phi. But again, these are the properties of soil. These are the properties according to the situation. It is not something which you will find unique for a soil. For example, same soil may be having different C phi in the presence of water, and in the absence of water their C and phi may be different. So C and phi parameters are not the sole property of soil, they are the properties of the situation where my soil is subjected to. I hope the concept is clear to you. It is going to be a very important concept. So there is a very thin line difference between the Mohr Coloumb theory and modified Mohr Coloumb theory. Once again, in a nutshell, I want to say that modified Mohr Coloumb theory is the function of your effective parameter of soil, rather known as C dash and phi dash, and your more simple Mohr Coloumb theory is a function of C and phi, which are known as total stress parameter on that plane. Okay, so that is going to be the concept here. Okay. So my dear friend, one thing I want to tell you, as today is the first lecture of soil mechanics, strength of material. So if you are following me blindly, then I can excel you in this topic. Otherwise, this topic is, you can say, very confusing. Lot many debates and all happens in this topic in shear strength of parameter. And let me tell you one more thing, it is the only topic in soil mechanics and effective stresses etc. which are really having some practical applications. Okay, effective stress, Mohr Coloumb, or you can say shear strength of the properties. These two topics are having really a lot of you can say practical applications, even consolidation as well. But there is so lot of many confusion by the students within this chapter. Okay, so try to follow me here. So sir, modified means effective. Yes, exactly Shabin. Modified means that theory or that shear strength which is going to depend upon the effective parameters of the soil. Means see now, here this sigma bar is there. This sigma bar is your effective stress. That's all. Okay, means when we are going to use it, whenever my soil would be linked with water, it would be in saturated state and all. But if it is a case of Mohr Coloumb theory, so I am not saying it is wrong, because first of all this theory was developed, but it is only valid for dry soil. Because as long as my soil is dry, it doesn't make any difference that I am going to use you can say total or effective. Effective and total would be same in the absence of water, because effectiveness only changes whenever there is an interference of the water. Is it clear, Shabin? Okay, so this is your modified Mohr Coloumb theory. So dear, this is the general expression. Okay, I am talking about this line. This is your shear strength, or you can say your shear stress envelope. This is only known as C plus sigma tan phi, or you can say if it is effective stress, then it is C dash or phi dash. Okay, but for understanding theory, doesn't matter if you are putting here sigma dash or sigma, theoretical things are going to come same. Is it clearer to you, my dear friend? Is it clearer to you? Yeah, it is known as the failure envelope. For the time being, you just assume that this circle is Mohr circle, and it is giving you the variation of stresses on different planes. For example, if my soil sample is like this, it may be subjected to some normal stresses. It may be subjected to some normal stresses. Okay, so let's say if this is my minor principal stresses and if this is my major principal stresses, then I can plot it and this is not subjected to any shear strength. So here it will be 0. It will also be 0. And on any other plane, maybe 1 degree, 2 degree, 5 degree, 10 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree, 80 degree, there would be some different values. It may be having normal stresses as well as shear component of stresses. Okay, so at any other plane, your soil may be having the normal as well as shear component of stresses. So what is going to be the interrelation between them? I would like to give you one suggestion. Try to read the you can say Mohr circle. How can we develop the Mohr circle from the strength of material concept? Okay, so please try to read that. Otherwise, I will explain you tomorrow that how you would going to achieve this circle. Okay, but if this circle is there, this circle means you are going to get the different values of normal and shear stress at different orientation. Whatever angle you are getting here, simply you have to assume it as 2 theta. So reality angle theta would be synchronized with the this circle 2 theta angle. So suppose if I need to find the value of normal and shear stresses at the 30 degree, so here I have to look this circle at 60 degree. Okay, why it is like that? It is coming in the derivation part. If you are not comfortable, then without any hesitation and all, you guys can tell me. I am also taking strength of material, so I am also comfortable in that. Okay, I can even tell you how you guys can obtain this relation. I have taken the full week backup for this chapter because I know this is the very important chapter. Is it clear? Okay, is it clear? And just for this chapter, I am also engaging you tomorrow. Otherwise, I do not take class on Sunday, but tomorrow also I am engaging you. Okay, so that this extra portion of Mohr circle and all I can discuss with you guys tomorrow. Okay, sir, at 0 and 180 degree in Mohr circle, shear stresses is 0. Correct now, Shabin? Yes, it is correct, but with respect to this condition, if my soil sample is subjected to sigma 1 and sigma 3 like that. In soil sample they will be 0 at 0 degree and 90 degree, and in Mohr circle they will be 0 at 0 degree and 180 degree. From here only it confirms that 2 theta angle covered in circle is equivalent to theta angle covered in actual plane. This is 0 and this is 90. Okay, and this is 0 and this is 180. So theta in reality is 2 theta in this circle. Theta in reality is 2 theta in this circle. Is it clear? Tell me guys. Okay. So how to find this C and phi? Okay, analytically I am going to explain you tomorrow, and at the starting on the lecture, if anybody is telling me that sir please explain the Mohr circle as well, I am going to explain it. Otherwise I will be assuming that you have studied it and you know the concept, and then I will be taking care of my geotechnical part. But if you guys are really not comfortable, then it is an advice you guys can ask for this Mohr circle. Okay, is it clear to you? Okay. So tell me, do you want me to cover that Mohr circle derivations and all? Okay, fundamentals of Mohr circle tomorrow. Okay, then sharp at 7 PM I will be explaining Mohr circle, which is a part of your strength of material. Okay, so around 20-25 minutes I would be explaining that. After that I will be coming on my topic, which is the determination of C and phi. Is it clearer to all my dear friend? Okay. So, or tomorrow class I may take lengthy. I will extend my class up for 1.5 hours, because first half an hour I would be explaining the strength of material concept. Okay, and those who are comfortable, they may come around 7:20 or 7:25. Okay, okay dear. Okay. So for the timing I am leaving the class today, and I got one comment at the very beginning that what is consolidation margin over consolidation margin. So for them I want to tell you that suppose if your today's applied stress on the soil is 100, and in past you already applied here, you can say 150, then my dear friend this 50 is going to be the over consolidation margin. Right now you are at 100, but still it subjected to 150. This soil is going to show the normally consolidation behavior once the load is going to exceed 150. It is not going to show the normally consolidated behavior. Till 150 it is going to show your over consolidated behavior. So this 50 gap is actually your over consolidation margin. It is your over consolidation margin. Okay, so that value of stresses which still has to be achieved in order to meet the past maximum applied stresses, that is known as the over consolidation margin. Okay, or you can say the maximum stress applied at the past minus current stress is your over consolidation margin. Is it clear to all my dear friend? Okay dear. Okay, so tomorrow we will be discussing the Mohr circle, and then we will be coming on the topic which is the determination of C and phi. Okay, बहुत important class होने वाला है कल का. Okay, if you are following my geotechnical, and then it is a must class for you guys. Is it clear? Okay, तो कल संडे को करते हैं स्पेशल संडे, और पढ़ते हैं कल सोम प्लस जियोटेक मिक्स करके, है ना, कॉकटेल करते हैं कल. चलिए दोस्तों, so for the time being, although I was prepared for today only and phi and PQ plot. Okay, so guys, this is our upcoming you can say test series. Okay, and Pariksha and Ultimate 10, and this is our gate test series. Agaz for ESE, Elevate for ESE, Gatorade for your gate. It is going to be there in every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. And you can also learn from our top educator with his test series. You can see that Jaspal sir is already here with you guys with his free test series. But अगर आपको इस test series का हिस्सा बनना है तो आपको डाउनलोड करना पड़ेगा Unacademy का लर्निंग ऐप, और आपको इस टेस्ट सीरीज के अलावा मिलेगा बहुत कुछ. बट आपको अप्लाई करना है ये शानदार सा कोड S10. You do not have to pay anything, okay, but you after applying this code you would be having access to this test series, okay, my code or any educator code. But if you are following me, then I will recommend you or to request you to use my code. And it is the accent batch for GATE 2023. You can see that our top educators has already commenced this batch. It is the 6th batch and which is initiated on 8th of March. If you are planning for your 2-year subscription, then again you can take the help of this code, okay. But if you think that next year only you guys have to appear for the exam, then you may enroll yourself in our evolve batch, which also we have started recently. Here as well you can use the code S10. Guys, all these are the prices of our batches. You can see that iconic batch. Rushikesh, I have just covered, dear. I had just covered. Dear, I have just covered. थोड़ा सा पीछे देख लो वीडियो को. चलो मैं फिर से बता देता हूं. You were not there, but still I was remembering. Okay. For 12 months, my dear friend, you have to pay 27,225, and for 18 months you have to pay 34,650, and for 2 years you have to pay 39,600. Okay, so let me explain that again once to Rushikesh. Rushikesh, I was telling you that suppose if this is my soil sample, and today I am applying a load of, let's say, 200 unit over here, but in the past this soil has already been subjected to, let's say, 300. Okay, so today's highest applied load is 200, but in reality it was subjected to 300 in maybe in its old history. So right now, how much more I have to apply on my soil such that it can be treated as normally consolidated soil, because this soil would be normally consolidated only once the force is going to exceed 300 or more, or if it is going to exceed 300. So this is the difference between the history's maximum applied force or stress with respect to current applied stress. This margin is known as your over consolidation margin. Okay, so that is the thing here. Okay, dear. And yes, one more thing I was telling you, that if somebody is also interested in our iconic plan, then he or she might have to pay 45,225 for your 1 year subscription, and for 2 years you might have to pay 66,600. Is it clear? Guys, do not hesitate to follow me at Unacademy. You can be getting notified for my upcoming notifications, batches and all. Okay, dear, thanks dear. And this is the official Telegram channel where I am going to send the links of my lectures as well as the daily notes which I am conducting on the YouTube. All these are the various studies channel offered by Unacademy, and right now you guys are watching me live at Unacademy GATE CECH, which is also known as the one-stop solution for your all engineering problem. So guys, thanks a lot. Take care. Stay safe. Now the situation is again getting critical due to COVID-19. So do not go outside if it is not required. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Thank you. Take care.